as quickly as you can. Snatch the pebble from my hand. When you take the pebble from my hand, it will be time for you to leave. In the Shaolin Temple, there are 3 kinds of men: students, disciples, and masters. Development of the mind can be achieved only when the body has been disciplined. To accomplish this, the ancients have taught us to imitate God's creatures. This is Shun, master of the white crane system. From the crane, we learn grace and self-control. The snake teaches us suppleness and rhythmic endurance. The praying mantis teaches us speed and patience. And from the tiger, we learn tenacity and power. And from the dragon, we learn to ride the wind. All creatures, the low and the high, are one with nature. If we have the wisdom to learn, all may teach us their virtues. Between the fragile beauty of the praying mantis and the fire and passion of the winged dragon, there is no discord. Between the supple silence of the snake and the eagle's claws, there is only harmony. As no 2 elements of nature are in conflict, so when we perceive the ways of nature, we remove conflict within ourselves and discover a harmony of body and mind in accord with the flow of the universe. It may take half a lifetime to master one system.
So, now, let me get this straight, because this is somewhat of an eye-opener for me and for other people listening to this. You're saying that the Earth does not revolve around the Sun, that the Sun revolves around the Earth. You're saying that the Earth does not spin on its own axis?
No.
So where do we get night and day?
So the Sun and the Moon revolve over and around the flat Earth. The Sun's path starts on June 21st on the summer solstice at the Tropic of Cancer at 23.5 degrees north latitude. So if we're looking at a flat model here, the North Pole is the middle point. Imagine a bullseye or a target. The North Pole is the middle point, and then you've got a disc shape all the way around, and that's the Antarctic ice. As I said, I don't know how far the Antarctic ice goes, whether there's a dome at some point, as many cultures believe, whether there's an edge, whatever. But what we do know is that the North Pole is the center point, the Antarctic ice rim is around it, the equator is halfway, and so the Sun starts at 23.5 degrees north latitude in the summer solstice, and it makes a circle around the flat Earth in a 24-hour period. So you're imagining the Sun going around in a circle. The circle gets bigger and bigger and faster every day until the winter solstice, At the autumnal equinox, 3 months later, it will pass the equator. And then another 3 months is when it's at the winter solstice, and then it will be at 23.5 degrees south latitude, which is the Tropic of Capricorn. And then for the next 6 months, it will slow down slowly day by day and make smaller and smaller circles as it passes the equator again on the vernal equinox 3 months later, smaller and smaller, slower and slower, all the way back to the Tropic of Cancer at 23.5 degrees north latitude. And so the sun makes this kind of cycle. The moon makes the same cycle following it, and but it doesn't change its speed. So generally twice per year, the moon and the sun overtake one another, and that's when the eclipse happens. As you can see, the moon and the sun appear to be, and are, the exact same size. In the ball Earth model, they claim that the sun is actually very big and very far away. It's 400 times bigger than the moon and 400 times farther away, and that's why, from our perspective, it just seems like they're the same size. That's their answer. In reality, you can measure with sextants and plane trigonometry, and you'll see that the moon and the sun are 32 miles in diameter, about 3,000 miles off the surface of the Earth. Flat Earthers for centuries have made the same calculations, whereas ball Earthers, these heliocentrists, their calculations change on their whims. For instance, Copernicus, he said that the sun was 3 million miles away in his day, 500 years ago. Kepler, about 100 years later, said it was 12 million miles away. Newton was quoted saying, "It matters not whether it's 26 or 54 million miles away, science will find the answer." And since then it's gotten bigger and bigger, and now the average is about 93 million miles away.
In addition to religion, several ancient beliefs have been extremely important in shaping Chinese culture as well. In fact, each of China's traditional religions have themselves been deeply influenced by these ancient beliefs. Undoubtedly, one of the most basic and widespread of them is the concept of yin and yang. In the symbol of the Taoist religion seen here, the mystical Tao is represented as consisting of two balanced but opposing energies. One is called yang, and the other is called yin. Yin is the energy associated with femininity, the earth, the night, the moon, and softness. While in contrast, yang is the energy associated with masculinity, heaven, the daytime, the sun, and strength. Each morning in the parks and public places of China, older people are always seen practicing Tai Chi, an ancient art that seeks to balance yin and yang energies while building strength and agility. And the approach of balancing energy is employed in traditional Chinese medicine as well. The ancient Chinese art of feng shui is also founded on the concepts of yin and yang. In China, feng shui experts have long been consulted for help in selecting a harmonious location for a new house or temple. Feng shui principles are used for planning the layouts of rooms and for deciding on how furniture can be placed to obtain the best energy flow. For it is believed that when the feng shui of a house is correct, meaning that the forces of yin and yang are properly balanced, the people who live in it will be happy, healthy, and prosperous.
Consciousness manifests itself in what it calls the dark waters of potential in the form of spirals. In that angular rotation of the spirals, everything within that consciousness dynamic has to be created in that order. So all things that solidify around a center. And it solidifies according to the yin and the yang perspectives. One aspect has to be a yang, the other aspect has to be a yin. And since everything is spiraling in a spiral around a spiral, then it stands to reason that all things were created around a center. The center does not necessarily have to be a stick. The Earth itself has a centrifugal or center of reference around which the matter that we see has accrued. Depictions of this have been shown around the world constantly and is buried in the Vatican. Depictions of the fact that sailors who sailed into certain areas or zones of activity or places on the planet never returned.